Alright, what's up everybody? Coming at you today from virtual Richmond Raceway, driving a Cup car in test session, and this is a custom setup. This is an updated custom setup. I haven't done a Richmond setup in quite a while, but this is the updated one. I'm actually running this in a league race tonight. I have hit a 20.5 with this thing. Let's see if I can get something close to that on video here for you guys. Then I will talk about how I get around this place, and then obviously show the setup and talk about it. This setup is pretty stable long run. I'm not going to say it doesn't get a little bit loose. Anything at Richmond is going to get a little bit loose on the long run, just by the nature of it. If it doesn't, then you're probably giving up too much speed on the first 30 or 40 laps of the run by making it super tight. If it's not getting a little bit loose on the long run, you're probably giving up a whole lot on the short run. But enough yapping, let's see if I can get a decent lap here. There is a 5, barely, but a 5, a 20.596. So I'm going to do a quick cool down here, and then let's start talking about how I get around this place, and then we will show the setup. Okay, so let's start with turn 1 and 2. Somebody said they hated that I always start with 3 and 4, so we'll start with 1 and 2. You're going to start out by the wall. You're actually going to stay up here, and the mark I'm kind of using, and it's not exact, but right there, when you see you get to the end of that painted strip right there, it goes green, then it goes black, then you got that paint. It's hard to see because you're out by the wall and it's down at the infield, but that's kind of what I am catching out of the corner of my eye. When I see that, that's where I am starting to lift, and I'm starting to come off the brake, or come off the gas. I'm on the brake, but not real hard, and I'm trying to get the thing to the bottom, and then I want to let it roll. I really don't let it roll very much. You let it roll very little, but you want to get right down on the yellow line and get back on the gas, and then let the car drift out to the wall. But I am kind of easy on the brake, but I'm on the brake for quite a while. I'm probably on the brake until almost the middle of the turn or so, but then once I'm off the brake, I'm hard on the gas. Coming up here into turn 3, it's a little more obvious what you're doing. That dotted line, where I see that dotted line, which is supposed to guide you into pit road, that's my mark. When I get even with that is when I am braking, and it's the same concept. You brake, you don't brake real hard, but you're kind of on it for, I don't know, a second or maybe second and a half, I don't know. Get the car to the bottom, then once you get it to the bottom, right on that yellow line, get hard on the gas and run it up towards the wall, and that is how I get around Michigan. Now, I will tell you, when the car has got fresh tires, it's tighter. As the tires wear, it gets looser. As it gets looser, instead of running up here on corner entry, I'm moving it down more in here on corner entry, because I don't need as much of a wide arc, because the car is a little looser and it turns a little bit better. So with all that being said, let's go look at the setup and talk about it. On here, not a whole lot to talk about that's real remarkable up here in the bump settings, other than I am up pretty high on that right front bump. I don't know why, because it doesn't seem like the physics should make sense this way, but when you get on the gas, if you can feel the car immediately start to slide when you get on the gas, a lot of times going up on that right bump helps, and that seems to be what happens at Richmond a lot. So I went up on that right bump to try to keep it from getting loose when you're on throttle. The front weight and wedge are really high. I am running this really high. I think those only go up to about 55 or 55 and a half. So I'm way up there on this, but that's to try to keep the car in balance. So I got some other things that make it really loose. One thing I have started doing is running the right spring just a little bit lower than the left. Seems like I'm doing things to make the car looser in other areas. This seems to help get it back in balance. Just no more than 20 or 30 pounds. A lot of places it's 20 pounds, but it seems like it helps by creating by making the car, I guess, put a little bit more, it's a little softer on that side, so it helps it be a little bit tighter when you're coming off, and you got a little bit softer springs. But overall, I like to keep the springs fairly balanced. I'm usually not 100 pounds difference, but sometimes that 20 pound makes a difference. The tire pressures are not much different than the default. They may be the defaults, I don't know. This is what I'm trying to do on camera. Put a lot of camber in the left front because it doesn't wear very much, not very much in the right front. That's what I've seen a lot of fast guys doing, and I'm kind of adapting that. Here's one of the big things I'm starting to change. I used to run a much stiffer sway bar. I used to run a 1.675 at most tracks. That's really stiff. That really helps a loose off condition. It really makes the car stable on the long run. But that stiff sway bar up like a 1.675 or 775, the problem is you tend to give up speed in the short run. And I was just getting beat by fast guys who drove a little bit looser setup, and I had to come up with a setup that's a little bit loose but still drivable. And to do that, I had to go down on the sway bar. Track bars, I'm running pretty close to maxed out track bars most places. The right track bar being a little bit low, that's again to help it get from getting loose when you get on the gas and you're coming off the corner as the tires wear. Nothing crazy with the grill tape. I run a pretty low wheel lock here and a pretty low steering offset. I don't want to put a lot of wheel into it. I like that low wheel lock because I don't want the tires turning a whole lot, because I feel like that's going to help it get loose when you got the tires just turn at a farther angle coming around the tire. I feel like that helps the car get loose as the tires wear, so I'm running a really low wheel lock. Last thing then I will shut up is the gearing. This comes out to a 4.44 gear. That is a gear that some of you guys that get off the corners better than I do may be hitting the rev limiter, okay? And if that's a problem, go to a 1.15 and a 3.82, and it'll probably bring you back in balance. If it really is a problem and that 115 and 382 doesn't work for you and you're still hitting the rev limiter, I would try going to just a straight 4-gear setup with a 4.33. Let me check that real quick. Yeah, 1.15 and 3.82 will take you to a final drive ratio of 4.39. Right now it's a 4.44. So that's what I got. Try it out. Tell me what you think. Hope it works for you. Like I said, it's a little bit loose at the end of the run, but you kind of got to have that to not give up too much speed at the beginning. If that is a big problem for you, go up on that front sway bar. It'll be a lot stiffer and a lot tighter, but you won't have a problem with it loose at the end, but you're probably going to give up some speed at the beginning to make that trade-off. So that's what I got. Hope it runs well for me in the league race tonight. That's it. Have a good day. Hope it works for you. Hope you run lots of fast laps and win lots of races with us, and have a great evening. Catch you all.